I'm going to pick up where I left off, dealing with 10 or 15 things that we do, but that people may not do back to you. This is still dealing with reciprocity. And I know Reg don't have those scriptures from last week, but that's all right. I want to thank the Most High for Greg giving that yearly reminder. He's trying to pick up where the real Pastor Green left off, except he just called it going back to Egypt. I would like to say, though, that if you get a day off, take it. And if you can spend some time with your loved ones, do so. The last time I was before you, I was telling you about a friend of mine that we haven't seen each other really since the pandemic. And we talk and we text, and they had been trying to catch me, and I've been running around, working, and I text her back and said that we would have lunch or dinner. Well, Monday, I called, and no, I text, and I had made all the arrangements because that's just the way guys are. In fact, we're beginning to learn that a lot of times ladies don't always want to have to pick the place or whatever. So, be that as it may, I texted her and I gave all the information. And about 20 minutes later, I got a text back from her, and she had informed me that her oldest had passed from a heart attack. This young man is probably late 30s, maybe early 40s. He seemed healthy to me. I didn't know him real well, but when his mom had bought a house, Vincent let me use one of his trucks, and me and Tony, we got all her stuff out of storage and moved the stuff to her house, and he was so happy that his mom had got a house and all, and he was a nice young man. Typical. He had a daughter. And, when you get something back like that, you just feel so inadequate. And I waited a little while because I was like, my goodness, that's not what I was expecting. In fact, I was expecting just the opposite because we are real good friends, and good friends will say whatever they want to say. And young people are leaving here, folks. Young people. Of course, when I finally texted her back, I let her know that if in any capacity, I could help in any kind of way. And I meant that. Because I've shared with you in times past, a lot of times we think the proper thing to say is if it's anything. But if you don't mean it, don't say it. And his homegoing service will be next Saturday. So if Donnie's here, I'm hoping Donnie will be here next Saturday. You know, I've been going back and forth with my nephew about some things, and I'm just really irritated, you know. But it's, I can only imagine how, as a parent, you have very high aspirations or high hopes, or most, let me put it this way, most prudent parents have high hopes for their children. Sometimes parents are dealing with a lot of issues and a lot of their attention stays on themselves, but you know, Monday when I got that news, I just, you know, you just, we need a reprieve, folks. I called my nephew, and you know, you still want to wring their neck, but you know, when you get news like that, you just sometimes, folks, the things that you have words with your loved ones about it. It's just so, sometimes it's insignificant, but sometimes it's so unnecessary. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes when you get devastating news, you kind of hit the reset button and you think about things that, misunderstandings or whatever, and you begin to realize how silly some stuff that we fall out about. I mean, and not just family, I'm talking just day-to-day situations in people's lives. People are leaving here, and those of us that are remaining so far, we still got issues with people. A little silly, and I'm calling it silly stuff. Can you imagine if you get crossways with somebody and then a week later, either, well, if you're not here, then I guess it don't matter. But what if they're not here? You know, I want us to think about that, because this is still dealing with reciprocity. Because, see, even in reciprocity, see, a real friendship, a real relationship, and I'm not just talking, when I say relationship, I know most of our minds think about marriage, but I'm talking about just relationships. Just how are you toward other people? See, most of us want friends, or most of us would like to have friends. But a lot of times, sometimes the way we carry ourselves and the way that we respond to people, or the way we don't respond to people can affect the closeness of the relationship. See, among a real friendship, there's no scorekeeping. If you're in a relationship where if I do this for you, then you got to do this for me, that's more of an arrangement. And there are some people that live an arranged life, and I get if that works, okay, that works for you. But this season, and I try to do a quick check when I get devastating news like that. And I'm like, man, what are you holding on to, Barry? What still irritates you? You see, right now, more than anything, my friend needs real friendship from me. And I'm only using myself as an example, not, this is no, I'm not into self-promotion, and that turns my stomach when I see and hear people doing that. So this isn't about me, but what this is about is all of us realizing what kind of friend do you really want to be? And let me say this, there's nothing wrong with being a fair weather friend. Most of your coworkers, believe it or not, you could put them in that category, and that's not a knock, that's not a slight. With what's coming in the few days, when these layoffs start happening, a lot of us that are putting most of our faith in our job or our title or our business or our whatever, you're going to find out just because you go to lunch with somebody every day, your coworkers are not your family. Now, I know, most people that are employed at a place, most will say, well, you know what, we got to work here. We all got bills. So let's agree to try to make this as pleasant as possible. Nothing wrong with that. But something that you can think about when you leave a place of employment, how many of them still call you? But better yet, how many of them do you still reach out to? Something for you to think about, because I'm trying to show you that all of us sometimes need to reevaluate the titles or the classifications we put on people. Because when real things happen in life, that's when you're going to find out. And that's not the time to just be trying to be proper. When that type of thing hits a person's life, they need real. They need genuine, real love. Not the things that sometimes people do and say. You know, made me think about Ralph and Connie. And I just got to think about everybody that's, you know, a lot of our parents are gone. We need a reprieve. We need Father, just have mercy. Have mercy. We're all being kind of pushed into, I won't say pushed, we're all being, I guess you could say, we're being elevated into another level of whatever you are. Be you a son, a daughter, a mother, father, grandfather, aunt, uncle. It's as if with the events that are unfolding, it's like it's being required of all of us to come up a little higher, be a little more mature in our living. You know, we got to kind of let some of the, I like to call it frilly, silly stuff, let that stuff go. Some of the things by way of review. 10 or 15 things you do but may not receive in reciprocity. And I said, following Torah will eventually bring reciprocity back in your life. And it will. Now, again, I'm not saying this from the standpoint of keeping score. Well, Father, I did 3 good things last week, and so far I've received, I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about being a person of integrity, being a person that is trying with all you can to live by his teachings and instructions and allow it to direct you in your day-to-day dealings with people. Because you never know when someone will need the real you, the Torah-led you, not the church you. They may need the person that is earnestly trying to live by his teachings and instructions. You may be the balm that they need. 10 or 15 things. Francis, I hope you ain't mad at me. Number 1, offering unrequested help. Favors, doing favors in exchange for friendship. Always placing other priorities above yourself. Always checking in. Being considerate of how what you say or do may affect others. These are things that a lot of you try to do, but you may not necessarily get that back right now. Don't get discouraged about that. Stick with it, stay with it. Including someone in your plans. Continue listening to their problems. Continue to talk well about others when they are not present. Being their cheerleader or source of encouragement. I'll tell you, sometimes just an encouraging word can do wonders, especially when you're kind of down. And I'm not saying you're ready to quit, but you just kind of down, but a kind word and a genuine smile, it can encourage somebody. And I'm saying that because a lot of times that's what you give out, but you might not necessarily receive it back. And sometimes you'll try to do that, and they may even come back at you with a negative response. And that can make some of us angry because we'll be saying, well, I was trying to do right, but now they're going to make me go off up in here. Who is that made that song? Y'all going to make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. Y'all going to make me act a fool up in here, up in here. Was that DMX? Hey, see, y'all ain't know I knew nothing about that. Folks, oftentimes you're flexible. And again, I'm not asking anybody to raise their hands. I'm just touching on some things that I am quite sure have happened to most of us, if not all of us, at one time or another. Have you ever been in a situation where something has happened and somebody say, hey, so-and-so, I need your help. And you were in the middle of something and you stopped what you were doing and you got in there and you tried to, do what you could, and maybe you were able to alleviate the situation. And you felt great about it. Week later, you might have a situation and you got to call 5 or 6 people and ain't nobody answering. Don't raise your hands. Have that ever happened to anybody? It's like whenever somebody needs you, they can get you. But when you need somebody, I remember on campus, on a slow weekend, the fellas would say, man, can't kill nothing and won't nothing die. Of course, then we were just looking to get in trouble, so good thing we couldn't kill nothing. It's a good thing nothing did die. But what I'm saying is sometimes that can get you to a point where you just get frustrated and say, wait a minute, hold it. This isn't fair. And so we start, I'll use myself. I start whining again. Father, come on now. Need a little help over here, a little help. Another thing that we do, and sometimes, saints, this make other people angry because in the United States, we have a lot of entitled people. I was just watching this fella that I watch a lot. He's mostly dealing with finances, but and this isn't a slight on anybody, but they're sending a lot of the migrants over to Chicago, and you know, they come out of a real tough situation. And, you know, there's been some back and forth with some of the city officials and some of the residents. And the residents were trying to say, listen, we don't have a problem with the migrants coming in, but the area that you want to designate, I guess this was a park or whatever, that's for the residents in that area, but be that as it may. Well, it didn't take some of them long, the immigrants I'm speaking of. Some of them are now saying, I want to go back to where I'm from because it's too cold here. Now, they haven't been, and again, the United States always touts itself as the richest nation on the face of the earth. That may be true, but it may not be true. But we always proclaim, you know, this is the land of opportunity. And we have all at one time or another become kind of spoiled because, you know, also by us being, I guess, touted as the richest nation, we're also a nation full of people that don't mind telling you how they feel, and they're gonna get their 2 cents in there, and you better listen, or at least make them think you're listening. When I heard that some of the migrants were asking if they could get some assistance to fly them back to where they were, you know, they went through a lot to get here. Now, of course, where they were sent was political, and I'm not trying to get in that, but they haven't been here 30 days and already they've become like us. I was floored when I heard that. Now, that's not saying all of them feel that way, but a large enough contingency feel that way that the headlines was the migrants are dissing Chicago because of the weather. They now want to go to California, Texas, and Florida. Yeah, Miami. Now, when they get down to Miami, you can't insure your property in Miami. So what some of them are going to find out is wherever you go, there are going to be challenges. And that's what we need to remember, people. Wherever we are, there are going to be challenges. Expressing gratitude. Listen, you know, like Greg said, you know, please try your best not to get too caught up in, you know, don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. I'm talking particularly to the grandparents, you know, but again, I'm not going to sit here and I wouldn't dare try to tell you what you can and can't do for your grandkids. I wouldn't do that because I know they'd be waiting on me out in the parking lot. So I'm not trying to tell you that, but what I am trying to say is I've got those monthly planners coming, and I'm not going to make a big to-do about it when I get enough in here, and I want to get enough so that every individual that wants to can get one. And I'm getting the size that I wanted us to have. And I'm going to just get them put on that front table. And it's none of my business who get one. And whatever you write in there, I just want that to be between you and the one that made you. But I really want us to track our discretionary spending 2024. Now, I'm going to get them to you. I could have brought them today, but I brought something else. I'm going to get them to you obviously, before the year is out. And I really would like for you to get them and use them. Now, I know some people, you know, you can go on your computer and track your spending. But I'd rather you put this in your car because when you come out the store with those shoes or whatever, you can write that down. Now, I'm not talking about your bills. You know, I pray you're going to take care of your bills because our FICO score and all of that stuff's going to mean something next year. It means something now, but even more next year. Expressing gratitude. And I don't want you to feel like I'm not trying to meddle. But I'm telling you folks, the government is more concerned about our individual financial situations. Legislation's going to be passed that could affect us. And when I say us, I'm talking about everyday working folk. That's the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life but and when I say government, I'm talking both parties, all three branches. So if one is not doing a good job, none of them are doing a good job. That's the way you got to look at it. Don't get caught up in it's their fault, it's their fault. No, if you getting a check and you hold one of those positions, be you in Congress, House of Representatives, from the president on down, learn to hold them all responsible. Make them all be accountable. Don't let them continue to play the blame game and turn us against each other. Because the same dirt that's in one party, they got the same dirt in the other. You got good and bad people sprinkle all out. I mean, just like society. Number 12, we always try to respect people's time. And sometimes people don't respect your time. And some of you are so nice, you know, and that's good. But saints, time is the most precious commodity that any of us have. Because we don't never know when our time is up. And the one that knows when it is either chooses not to say, or he may say. But I think in the coming years and months, it's important that we respect one another's time and realize that everyone may be dealing with something. And sometimes when approached, it may not be a good time, and it may have nothing to do with, well, I always thought you didn't like me. That may have nothing to do with it. But in this nation of entitled individuals, we got to remember one thing. No one has to do anything for me. No one has to do anything for you. Now, we all got to pay taxes. But we need to remember that sometimes. People do mostly because they want to. Some people are eager to try to help. But don't play people. Some people are going to be pleasant regardless of how unpleasant you may be. But some people will meet and exceed your unpleasantness. Keep that in mind. Don't take people for granted. Don't do that. You'll be disappointed. Along with being flexible, a lot of us, we drop what we're doing to assist others. And sometimes when you're in the middle of doing something that you really don't want to do, you almost hope that phone rings. Because then you say, well, hey, I gotta go help my brother. I gotta go help my sister. I gotta go help my cousin. The one you ain't spoke to in 10 years. Which is still good to do. But again, sometimes when you have an emergency, how many folks do you call before somebody pick up? And then inevitably, once the fire all died down, now here come the phone call, here come the texts. Did you need something? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. No. It's just interesting how things work sometimes. Another thing that we do, well, a lot of you do, and it is so precious. A lot of us, a lot of you remember minor things that are important to certain individuals. Might be somebody's birthday. Might be somebody's favorite color. Might be somebody's favorite restaurant. Might be somebody's, I don't know, favorite color, whatever. And, you know, that might be a small thing to a lot of people, but that'll touch a person. They'll be like, Kylie, you remember that? I know some of the fellas have probably gotten in trouble because sometimes the ladies can remember what day of the week it was, what you was wearing, where you were at, you know, what day of the week it was, all the details. But that's important. And when you really care, you'll pick up on some things, small things, especially if they think you're going to forget. So fellas, if you got busted the first time, write it down. I got a friend last year. Their birthday is, I remember. Their birthday is 4 days after what they call Christmas. And I remember them on Christmas. You know, it wasn't until my birthday. I got a card. And in the card was some money, and I was like, hey, my kind of card. But you know, they wrote down at the bottom of the card, Negro. They didn't say Negro. You didn't give me nothing for my birthday. I said, wow. See, Carrie, I had wrote all that stuff down. And of course, I was floored. Well, nothing I could do about it. Thank you. Did I feel bad? No. But I'm not going to forget this year. Remembering minor but important things. And that was important to them. So, Lord knows, now that I know they a scorekeeper, I'm not. And I don't think they were really upset about it. But I'll make up for it, I guess, this year. But when you really, and it's not necessarily that you into them in terms of that romance stuff. I'm not talking about that. Some people, because of their personality, you just like being around them. And those kind of people, you might remember something insignificant, but Some things are like drinking a glass of water. Like I said, a real good friendship. It's the last thing on my list. Oh, now this is a lot of you. A lot of you are people of integrity, and people can trust you, and that's a good thing. Continue to maintain confidentiality. That's so important. That is so important. You know good and well what you can repeat, and most of us know what we shouldn't repeat. But particularly when someone tells you something in confidence, please maintain that person's confidentiality. Now, if they planted a bomb somewhere, I'm not talking about that. I can remember back in our heyday, I had a couple of members one time. They was calling me, worrying me. I'm like, calling me for? Both my parents here. Talk to them. But, you know, I went ahead and I listened. And they were saying, well, yeah, and I told your mother this and that and that and that and that. And I just assumed she said, you know, she said something to Pastor about it. And I said, no. If what you told her in confidence, she's going to keep that confidence. And these people were amazed because I guess they figured there ain't no secrets. I guess, you know, for some. I mean, and, you know, I just throw this out and please don't answer. Don't just look up at the board. I'm assuming there are some couples or some friends, they don't look at each other's phone. Now, I guess that's a thing now. And I'm not asking, I'm just saying there's been a bit of controversy about this. I'm like, wow. So now you can, I guess, start a fight by answering your spouse's phone or picking up their phone. Wow. Folks, you know, my heart is heavy, but more and more is going to be required of you in these coming days, and we need to grow. We need to stretch, because people are going to need maybe a word of encouragement. Maybe people are going to need maybe some type of assistance. Maybe people are going to need maybe some wisdom, maybe some counsel. And they're going to need it from you because they sense that you've been trying to live the right way. And sometimes when things get haywire in life, you don't go to the crowd that you're running around with. You're going to look, hey, you know, Greg don't never go with us. Let me call Greg. I ain't going to call nobody else. I'm just joking. Folks, I'm not saying this to frighten you. You're going to be needed. You're going to be needed. You gonna be needed. We gonna be needed. And so that's why we got to kind of start making sure our foundation is as sure as we can get it. Sweep all the sand out. In fact, get that sand carted out. I don't know what else they use to make cement. But check for cracks in your foundation. Put a little something to the side so that when you want to help, you don't take yourself under. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Even if it's a close friend, don't you go under. Because I may need you for something. I'm just kidding. I mean, I was making a joke. We don't know who's going to need help. Seriously. And let me say this because I know a lot of people say, I wish he'd get off of that. There will be a transfer of wealth. There will be a transfer of wealth. Not everybody's going to have a hard time. Some people are going to profit these next couple of years. Could be us. I hope it is us. So I'm not all gloom and doom. I'm just wanting us to be aware of what's happening around us. This thing we call church is more, there's more to us coming together just to hear nice, cute Bible stories. I'm not knocking the Bible. But I'm telling you, folks, things are getting more and more serious. I was telling Greg, I brought some, those Arlo cameras, and we're going to put them up around here or something, because people are just kind of getting off a little bit. And, a person that's hungry, they're going to go where they can get something and sell it if they have to. And, I'm just looking to, as best I can, safeguard what we got. And, I know for some people, things have gone slow, but sometimes when things are turned over to the government, it's not a whole lot you can do. And when I say government, I'm not talking about the federal government. I'm talking about local government. And only the Most High knows why he has had our situation almost like in limbo. Lord knows I've bent his ear. And we got to get ready to do some things, but I just want us to make sure that our situation, that we're on firm foundation, so that when we start to move, we can move at a pace that we can handle. And we'll move at the pace by his cadence, not by ours. And that gives some of us a problem. My attention and I will listen to anybody. I will listen to anybody. But my instructions are going to have to come from the one that set all of this up. I see I'm out of time, Reg, and I'm going to get ready to sit down. But in these things that I outlined, folks, listen, don't get discouraged about it. Don't get worried about it. Just continue doing those things. Be the best you can be every day, even when things don't go our way. Now, I'm not talking about Pollyanna, I'm not talking about that. Yeah, if you got to say ouch, say ouch, But we are the quality people that a lot of people are going to be in search of. See, when things get tough, you want quality people in your life. You want quality people in your life. I know I do. I'm like, Lord have mercy, please, no more riffraff, please. I'm going to quit early. I got 2 minutes. Saints, we're going to make it. We're going to make it. And I'll tell you, when the wind started blowing, and I know every one of you got your own circle of friends or whatever, but when those winds, the economic winds start blowing, keep the rest of us in mind, okay? Now, I may not be in your circle, and that's all right. I'm not asking. This is not a plea for that. But saints, we're going to have to, some of us are going to have to, how can I put this? Some of us are going to have to show ourselves to be real. Not saying that we're not. I mean, for real, for real. And we got people in here that you can count on. And the thing I'm trying to get across, and I'm going to sit down after this, is even if you can't do a whole thing, call on another brother or sister and break that thing up. Don't put an elephant on any one person. That's tough. And they may be willing, but they say, hey, I can't. Listen. You know how you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And then, and I'll close with this. They say, when you go to see somebody and they ill, you take a little bit of that illness when you leave. It's the same thing in economic times. If something's going on, please don't wait till the 11th hour. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not right. Don't do that to people. You got bad habit? And I'm not saying stop. I ain't saying just say no. I know it's not that easy. I know it's not that easy. We want to help one another. But Lord knows, I don't want to take nobody down. And I don't want nobody to take me down. God bless you.